Get full episodes of The Damage Report as a podcast on iTunes and Android, and you can watch the live show every weekday on YouTube TV. So, JR, the Dems now have the House. That's the big takeaway. But what are they actually gonna do about it?
What
are they gonna do with it? So, what do we think the Dems need to do, both in general to benefit the country, but also politically to advantage themselves and the party going into 2020? For all of these things, pragmatically and politically, ideologically, what do they need to do?
Okay, number one, well, I guess an overarching, approach is don't be naive. Trump started it today, or maybe even last night, who knows, tweeting about how much Nancy Pelosi has earned and deserves to be speaker, right? Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's ignore that. Let's not listen to this guy right now, because we know who he really is. So whatever he's doing, he's trying to pull some kind of division thing or say, hey, butter up Nancy and be like, hey, make sure you keep your people away from me, all right? Because we know how much I'm worried about potentially investigations. Because the media immediately today went to asking him in his impromptu press conference after he was speaking about the results last night. But what about investigations? Investigations. He lost his mind. He started fighting with everyone, telling people to sit down, don't talk to me, all this stuff. It was very fiery. I was enjoying it thoroughly. So that's gonna be the focus everyone's on. We already see where it is.
You're saying
investigation, tax reports, all that stuff, tax returns. When the Dems gonna start these investigations into? What about Mueller? What about Russia? All that stuff. I say still do that stuff, but again, don't be naive. Come in and still keeping, I guess we had all this voter turnout and energy from many progressives and Democrats. Put in and continue to put forward a progressive agenda. Number one, you're a legislator. Start there. Yes, I want all these investigations, but let's start day one.
So they should do them, but you don't rank that highly.
Do it at the same time. Don't do it as the biggest thing you're doing, because then they'll continue to be able to paint the picture that you're just there to obstruct and push him, because we still have a large percentage of the country who thinks, well, listens to everything Trump says and goes, all they're trying to do is stop me and stop our momentum. They hate America. They want Kenya to do better. So just come in with legislation so that you can also keep your base energized.
Let me
with
respond.
people who want something really done, do real things, and let him shoot all those down. So he's the guy who's stopping progress.
So I want to move on to the sort of legislation they can pass, but two things you said. First of all, on Nancy Pelosi, I saw Ken Klippenstein, who's been on the show many times. He tweeted the Donald Trump tweet saying Nancy Pelosi should be the speaker, and then the picture of Admiral Akbar saying it's a trap. So I think we both agree that it would be great if someone else was speaker. I don't even understand at this point why the presumption would have to be that it's her. I understand the conventional wisdom, the fundraising, all that stuff. I'm saying I don't understand why, as a party, that seems like a good idea. Republicans love to run against her. She has had her chance. There's literally hundreds of other people who could do the job. So that's a bit frustrating.
That's actually the reason he said it, because he needs Hillary Clinton light. And he's got three of them. He had Hillary Clinton, he had Nancy Pelosi, and he had Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So three women that of course every Republican voter hates. And then there's Debbie. And then also many Democratic voters don't like. So he's like, this is great.
Or frustrated, or
all he's thinking about is the next election. We know he doesn't like to actually to represent. He's not a legislator, but or actually pass laws or help Americans. He's there to win and to win the next one. Every time someone speaks up, he goes, "I'd love to run against them." Because all he's thinking about is running. He has no interest in being the actual president.
Yeah, and on so the big thing that they've been talking about is the investigations, whether that's protecting or supplementing the Mueller investigation or the tax returns or these other things. And I agree, they should do all of those things, but I doubt that's what we're gonna.
Loudly, like go on the shows and talk about it. When someone asks you, hey, how about that investigation launching? Yes, we are launching the investigation because we have a criminal president. But you know what else we're doing? Go to all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like people have a hard time understanding that you can want something to happen without thinking the reason it needs to happen is because it's gonna motivate people to vote in the next election. They need to do it because they need to hold the president accountable if he's breaking the law and things like that. And in terms of like the Mueller stuff, I was a bit frustrated like a week ago. I think it was Glenn Greenwald, with all due respect, was tweeting, if the Russia investigation is so important, why aren't the Dems talking about it in the run-up to the election? First of all, you've been telling them for 2 years not to talk about it at all, so you should be happy, be celebrating. And second of all, because they wanted to run on the issue, something that people say they don't do, but Nancy Pelosi wouldn't stop talking about healthcare for all of her other problems. In terms of the media talking about it, because here's the crazy thing, and I know people don't want to accept this, we talk about developments in those investigations when there are developments in those investigations. We don't just wake up and say, okay, Let's find something about them to talk about. If things are happening, we talk about it. If things aren't happening, we don't talk about it. Some people don't run their media outlets like that, but that is how we function at the very least. So those things should go on, but that should not be the focus. In terms of legislation, I would like to say, while we had a conversation on the Young Turks that I didn't get to weigh in on what they should try to pass. They should pass all sorts of things, but understand that in the background of that, none of it will become law. So just understand that. That doesn't mean they shouldn't do it or that they shouldn't do it in a certain way. But I also think that there will be a little bit of, even if they pass the most progressive bill ever, some people sitting on the sidelines will be like, well, they only did it because they know it won't become law. So just expect that if we get to that glorious day, some people will say that.
Do it anyway.
What should they pass?
Okay, so I mean, I don't know the degree
to which,
I don't know the degree to which they can do things about the healthcare law because there's so many caveats and things that get cut down and then. But you have to continue to push with the healthcare law because that's something that has begun to be seen as at least a democratic tool. You know, something that's helping American people is the democratic thing. After Obama went in with Obamacare, even though it continues to get pushed as this thing that's destroyed American families and people don't get healthcare anymore. That needs to be what you're hanging your hat on because that's what people care about across all party lines. Because guess who gets sick? Everybody. So number one, healthcare law.
And they have increased the number of Dems in the House that support Medicare for all. Not as much in some cases as we would like what Emma was talking about. Kara Eastman and James Thompson, and a number of others. But it has expanded. It's becoming more popular, both inside of the caucus and nationally.
Yeah. And make people, again, like you said, many things won't get passed, but people have to be on record. Next, money in politics. Again, another thing that sweeps across, I think, all political lines, and it's a very progressive thing. Put it out there, make the case, and tell people why that's what we need to do. And say, don't you want, I thought President Trump was cleaning the swamp. He's emptying the swamp. You know what the swamp is? The swamp is money in politics. It's paying people. And actually, again, say there's corrupt Democrats that get paid by corporations to do their bidding. Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's end it.
Yeah, and I would say take a page. This is to the Democratic leadership, and if it is Nancy Pelosi, I guess it's to her. Take a page out of the ballot measures that passed all over the country. People were voting for environmental issues, anti-corruption issues, things to allow people to vote. Voter same-day registration, automatic registration, independent redistricting commissions, all these things, anti-corruption measures. That is what people want. Maybe do that nationally too. That would be pretty cool, especially since you can do it anytime you want now.
More minimum wage increase, all these types of things.
Marijuana legalization.
Yeah. Look, what Michigan was the state that went last night?
Yeah, well, several did, and re-enfranchising voters of felons in Florida as well. There were a lot of things like this. You could totally do that.
If you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose, right?
Yeah, and to sum up how I feel about this, Jonathan Larson of TYT had tweeted, imagine if House Democrats focused on passing one populist measure after another on healthcare, education, Wall Street, Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, student loans, you name it, for the next 2 years, only to die at the hands of Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump. Don't wait until 2 months before the 2020 election to figure out what's gonna be in your commercials. Create the content for those commercials today by making them vote down incredibly popular and growing in popularity measures in all of these different areas.
Because you know what suddenly is happening? They're also getting asked, how are you gonna compromise with Trump now that you're in power? You start saying, I got a damn mandate from people that I represent to do what they want. And I started asking Trump, how is he going to compromise my way? Only thing he's saying is infrastructure, which no one understands what it means, and neither does he.
Yeah, and one additional thing. So, the investigation's obviously more important, the legislation. And third, stop the damage. We are the damage report. I would love to have less damage to report on a daily basis. So when they try to pass more tax cuts, when they try to destroy Social Security, all of those things, you need to be the bulwark that stops it from happening. And if you compromise with them, you will have proven us right in saying that you shouldn't be in the leadership, and we will have even more cause to primary more and more of you the next time around.
What will you change the name of the show to if there's no more damage? The rebuilt, repaired report?
I have no idea, but I look forward to that issue. Thank you very much for watching this clip from the Damage Report. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell on YouTube to get notifications of our new videos. And of course, you can catch the full Damage Report live every weekday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on TYT Network on YouTube TV.